Hey friends, this class is called Tune In and Tone Up. It is a warming, energetic practice that's intended for us on days that we feel like we really just need to put the world on pause, travel back through our own body, and try to find a reconnection with a clear mind and a full heart. I invite you to be playful as we move and make this practice yours in any way that it serves you. I'm going to invite you to start, if it feels comfortable, with soles of the feet together and knees wide. You can welcome yourself to tuck blocks in anywhere that might be supportive, and if you have them nearby, they might be helpful for some of the poses that we'll work our way through. Sit up really nice and tall. Close down the layer of the eyes and land into yourself with a couple of moving, sweeping, maybe even softly audible breaths. Without trying to change and fix it in an instant, really tune into how it is that your breath moves in and out of your body. Connecting to what it is that feels deep and nourishing and true to you. Examine the layers of the breath on the beginning, middle, and end of the inhale. The beginning, middle, and end of the exhale. And attempt to give all parts equal attention without having to force or drag any portion of it. You relax into your own known rhythm and be held by this for 3 more full body breaths. You can choose to keep your hands rested low down on your legs, or you might choose to lift hands up and fold them over the space of your body, maybe both on your chest, or maybe one on your belly and one on your chest. Take a soft bow of your chin in toward yourself, and remind yourself how powerful it can be to turn back inward, to stay in your own rhythm, and to allow things to evolve in a natural way. When your exhale comes, release your hands down to your sides. We'll sit up to our tallest height once again. When your inhale comes, a slow stretch with arms up to the sky, slow and simple. And then when your exhale comes, swim down like the air was resisting you, like you really had to muscularly press through it. We'll take 3 more like that. Inhale to lift high. Exhale to swim down slow. Keep length through your spine and a full lift with every inhale, and a soft release like there was thickness through the air. 1 more. You're going to let an inhale lift you all the way up to the sky. And when your exhale comes, we're going to take a twist toward the right. Right hand will come to tent behind you to support the length of your spine, and left hand can reach all the way across toward right knee. If that feels uncomfortable to the shoulders in any way, you can let the left hand stay anywhere that it's more appropriate to you. Lift up tall through your seat and use a slow exhale to turn open toward the right. Wait for an inhale to turn forward, chest rebounds forward, fingertips up. And with an exhale, we turn softly to the left, same thing. Left fingertips support you, sit up tall through your spine. Slow exhale to lovingly turn into the twist. No need for force in this moment. Inhale, lift forward and up, chest turns forward. And exhale, hands swim down. It'll feel really nice to help collect the knees back together, maybe even straighten the legs down the mat for a little waggle. And then we're going to turn everything over and find our way into a simple child's pose. You could choose to keep your thigh bones parallel or walk them wider. Drop hips down towards your heels and lay your forehead to a space that's comfortable for you. So maybe all the way to the mat, or maybe to the back of folded hands. If it is available to you to lay your forehead all the way to the mat, comfortable enough in your neck and your shoulders, I will invite you to reach your arms energetically forward. walking the fingertips all the way up toward the top edge of the mat until you're starting to feel a big stretch through your sides and your arms. And then potentially push down through the tips of your fingers and lift the palm of your hand up off the mat, tenting your fingers into finger stand. I find this really helps to feel the feeding of shoulder blades down our back body, like you're trying to tuck the tips of your shoulder blades down into back pockets. We'll take 2 more big breaths here. And push through hands and knees when you're ready. Glide back up through a seat. Knees are going to come to a space that they're no wider than the hips. Hands are going to work their way forward of your shoulders. I'm going to suggest generously forward, like 10 inches to a foot. Turn your toes under when you're ready and lift your bum high for our first downward facing dog. And the downward dog hopefully will help us get into a bunch of our sticky places. So notice how it feels to press your hands into the floor and lift your hips back, expressing through the space of side waist, maybe with a little waggle of our tail, expressing through the muscles that ride on the back side of our legs into calves and hamstrings, maybe with a pedal of the knees. It might even feel good to dance the feet wide out to the edges of the mat and explore a hip sway in that variation. Could feel different. Dance in any way that it pleases you across the back of the mat, just noticing how different foot placements might feel different. And either stay in your own movement or choose to really marinate into your stretch for the last 3 here. And then look toward your hands when you're ready and walk or take a single step toward the top of the mat. When your feet feel very even beneath you, inhale your chest up halfway. And then exhale, take a dive and fold. Arms to the sky with a big slow stretch. Reach up. Exhale, bring your hands down through the center of your chest. Good. Inhale to lift up high, and when your exhale comes, sit into the strength of your legs and find a chair pose. Chair pose is an excellent way to really wake up the muscles of the body. So what I will invite you to do is find a central strength in your chair where there's a purposeful balancing of your pelvis, lengthening your tailbone, and softly picking up the front edge of your pubic bone towards your belly button. You'll know when that turns on because you'll feel the activation. Keep it as you sink into the strength of your legs and then really reach long through your upper side waist. And we'll take 1 more big breath. When your exhale comes, straighten your legs and lead with your heart as you fold. Come halfway up with your inhale and then fold with an exhale. Bend your knees, plant your hands, and step straight back to downward facing dog. Try to get some length out of your dog and clear 1 full body breath. When your exhale comes, please bring your knees down to the floor, and this will assist us in bringing our elbows, forearms, and hands to the floor. Hands are widespread. And then tuck your toes and walk those guys back behind you, and we're going to come to a forearm variation of our plank. Lift up through the space of the belly. You can always lower knees if this feels really intense. Drag your chest forward and your femur bones back. And then when your exhale comes, lower your hips with control. Slide your hands back to frame your breastbone. Inhale to roll your chest open to a cobra. And then with an exhale, lift hips all the way back up, nice and high, downward facing dog. Great. When your inhale comes, reach your right leg up high to the sky behind you. When your exhale comes, squeeze your right knee towards your nose and curl your upper back. Good. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, kick out high. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, kick out high. And then exhale, squeeze in. This time, inhale, kick out high. And when your exhale comes, step your foot all the way through to your hands at the front and pivot your back heel down for warrior 2. We'll glide the upper body up and open and sit into the warmth of our legs. Notice the stretch open of your chest, the revolving open of inner thighs, of this space of our groins. And then we're going to try to bring a little bit of life through the shoulders. So potentially reach your top end hand toward the sky. Bend through your elbow and cradle the back of your head. Beautiful place to stay. If you'd like a little bit more heat, consider bringing your back hand to your top elbow and feeling the slow stretch of drawing your top fingertips down to the space between your shoulder blades. Keep the work in your legs. This is a perfect place to stay, or if you feel like your shoulders are readily available. You could start to flip your backhand back behind you and see if you can touch fingertips or even catch a soft bind all the way back behind your shoulders. When your exhale comes, both hands are going to come down to frame your front foot. Your back heel is going to lift up. You may or may not want blocks, so I'm going to elect to use mine. And then what I'd love to invite you to do is to move your front foot heel toe 1 or 2 spaces off to the left of the mat. And then using the support of your hands and your front foot, you're going to step your back foot behind over to the right side of the mat. So if there was an invisible line down the mat, our feet are on opposite sides, crisscrossed. Now you're going to start to straighten both legs and pull your right hip back until you get a nice, beautiful long stretch all the way up the back edge of your right leg, and then pull and articulate your heart forward. Beautiful work. Take one more whole breath here. Good. When your exhale comes, bend through your front knee, heel toe your foot back into center, and step your back foot back behind so we can set up for a lunge variation. Strong through the front leg, grounded through the front foot, and reach up really nice and high to a high lunge pose. Pull length through your upper body, strength through your back leg, and a rebounded belly. We'll take one more. And then you're going to balance forward onto your right foot and see if you can step in a collection. Maybe bring your hands into your heart. Step into a collection where you might cross your left ankle to the top of your right knee, standing number 4. If you need to step out and come back, no problem. That's a great idea. Sit into your own warmth, lift high through your chest. And then inhale, stand up tall. And exhale, step down with control. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, sit into your legs, chair pose. Tone your belly and find your fixin', so pulling length through your tailbone, sitting into the work of your legs. Share the weight of your body through all 4 corners of your feet and try to get more length through your side waist, hips to armpits grow long. When your exhale comes, deep dive and fold, let it go. Halfway up with an inhale, forward fold with an exhale. Bend knees, plant hands, step all the way back to down dog. Take a big full body breath in. And an exhale to lower your knees. We're going to walk our elbows, forearms, hands down onto the mat, tuck your toes, and extend heels back behind you. Pull up through the space of your belly, rebound forward through your chest. And when your exhale comes, lower your hips with control. Hands to frame your breastbone. Inhale, cobra pose, high or low. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Hands stay plugged to the mat. Inhale, lifts left leg high. Exhale is going to bring your left knee towards your nose, around your upper back. Inhale, kick it all the way back out behind you. 2 more like that. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, kick. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, kick. Exhale, look forward to your hands. Step your left foot to the front and pivot back, heel down for warrior 2. When you're steady, arms dance up and open. Sitting into the work of the legs. Chair and warrior 2 have a lot in common. Fierce pose, fierce warrior. Strength of the legs really allows us to settle. Inner thigh rolls to outer thigh. And maybe top hand will reach to the sky to cradle the back of the head. Maybe bust up 2 will bring your back hand to rest onto top elbow, giving a little bit more rotation to this top shoulder. And maybe your shoulders have already been warmed today, and it will feel good to try to find a bind behind you. It might surprise you that it's there on one side and not the other. When your exhale comes, both hands come down to frame your front foot. Back heel lifts. And with or without blocks, you're going to move your left foot to the right. Step your right foot to the left. And begin to scissor both legs towards straight until the back of your hamstring, your calf muscle, to the outside of IT man and piriformis might all say hello. Hug the left hip crease back, right hip points softly forward. And then heel toe back, so your left foot comes back to the left. Right foot steps mindfully back to the right. Strength through your back leg and grounding through your front foot, and lift up really nice and high, high lunge pose. Pull your belly in and pull length up through your sides. One more nice huge breath here. When your exhale comes, bring your hands to your heart. That will help you balance into your left foot, and we're going to try to step forward, crossing right ankle to the top of left knee. Sit into the strength of the legs and take all those little fixins where we're not trying to push our bum back behind us. We're keeping the belly engaged, front of pubic bone lifted up. And then inhale, stand tall, and step down with control. Back to the sky, inhale. Forward fold to release, exhale. halfway up with an in-breath, and then a simple fold. You bend your knees a lot with an inhale, sweep upper body nice and high, chair pose. Yay! Sit into the work of the legs. When your exhale comes, you're going to bring your right wrist to the outside of left knee and inhale to send our left fingertips back behind us in a variation of a chair. This is a perfect chair. Look down toward your knee. See if you can pull your right hip crease back. This will keep your pelvis neutralized as we spin through the shoulders and the upper chest. If you want more work, you can draw your right elbow down, touch your palms together, roll your chest up. This creates more traction to pull our right hip back, roll our chest open. Take one more. Great. When your exhale comes, fold and bow. Come halfway up, and then let it go. Plant your hands, step on back, downward facing dog. And when your exhale comes, bring your knees to the earth. Lower your forearms like we did on the first round. Spread your hands out wide. Tuck your toes to walk your heels back behind you and squeeze and pull your belly up as you beam your chest forward. Exhale to release your hips. Bring your hands to frame your breastbone and roll your chest open, cobra or up dog. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Long, beautiful, full body breath. Good. When your inhale comes, right leg reaches high to the sky. And when your exhale comes, right knee curls in toward your nose. Inhale, kick it all the way back up. And then exhale, come forward and try to touch your right tricep. Good. Inhale, kick it all the way back up. And then exhale with a little twist, try to kick your left, draw it toward your left tricep. And then we're gonna pivot our back foot down and kick our right foot all the way out to the left side of the mat. If this feels crazy and intense, please use your blocks. You can always step your foot back, get your blocks to support you. And what we're looking to do is really feel a nice open pull through the entire lower side of our right hip. Stay here, or steady through your right hand. Peel your left arm up toward the sky, variation fallen star. Good, look down toward the floor. Hands come to frame, plug into the mat, and your right leg lifts high to the sky. With an exhale, let's step our foot all the way up to our hands again. And we'll pivot back, heel down for warrior two. Familiar warrior two will come up, and we'll settle into our own strength again. Sure in our standing, sure in our strength. With an inhale, the bend comes out of the front knee, so squeeze your legs towards straight. Draw your hips toward the back of the mat and notice the pull that has to be held in the belly in order to keep this. We'll cartwheel to a variation of our triangle pose, which on its own is already kind of a core warming posture. If you want a little bit more work, your top arm is going to stretch all the way over your top ear, and you might start to lift your lower hand like you were holding a big invisible beach ball between palms. With an inhale, lift your upper body, and with an exhale, settle back to warrior two. We're going to try to really steady through our feet. With your next exhale, you're going to sweep your back arm away and under, pick up on your back heel, and pivot up to a high lunge variation. Maybe or maybe not. Pull the belly in, pull your back femur bone away. When your exhale comes, hands are going to come into the heart. Step down through your right foot and try to lift and cross left ankle to the top of right knee. Good. When your inhale comes, come to stand tall. And when your exhale comes, step down. Arms to the sky with an inhale. Stretch it up and open. Slow exhale to bow, forward fold. Take your time. Halfway up with an inhale. Heart reaches forward. And then exhale, find a bow. You bend your knees a lot. When your inhale comes, stretch your upper body to the sky, chair pose. Last chair pose, I promise. Lift the belly in, find all your little fixins, and then slowly bring your left wrist to the outside of right knee and direct your right fingertips behind you. Look towards your toes and your knees. Pull the left hip back so you're keeping your hips neutral, and maybe or maybe not, you're hooking your elbow and rolling your chest up. There is a continuous hugging of the left hip back and a rotation from mid-back through chest. When your exhale comes, look down and fold. Hips up, head down. Halfway up with an inhale. Good, then let this go. Hands come to plant to the mat. Step all the way back to down dog and move one breath. When your exhale comes, bring your knees to the earth. Walk down into elbows or forearms. Spread hands wide. Tuck your toes under behind you and radiate your whole body long to forearm plank. When your exhale comes, lower your hips. Slide your hands back to frame your breastbone. Inhale, open to cobra or up dog. And then exhale, we'll find our way through to downward facing dog. Wide spread of the hands for full grounding. Inhale, left leg lifts high. Exhale, curl left knee to nose. And then inhale, kick back. Exhale, we're gonna come forward, left knee to tricep. And then exhale, kick back. Exhale, we're gonna come forward, left knee to right tricep. Pivot your back foot down so you're plugging the heel and try to kick the left foot all the way open toward the right side of the mat. So just like last time, with or without blocks, feel the soft pull, soft or strong pull, to the outer edge of your IT band. And if it feels available, lift your right arm up toward the sky, variation fallen star. Now look down. We're gonna ground our hands, lift up on the back toes, and reach our left leg back up, and then step it through to the front so we can pivot the back foot down for warrior two. Carve arms up and open, and sit into the work of your legs. Trust a breath in the posture you know. And then inhale, squeeze front leg towards straight, draw your hips toward the back of the mat, and cartwheel to a variation of our triangle. Your top rib cage rotates open. If you want more work, top hand over top ear, and maybe even lift bottom hand up like you were holding this invisible beach ball. Inhale, back up through the upper body, bend through the front knee, warrior two. We're going to try to lift into a stable high lunge pose by taking your backhand, sweeping it toward the floor, and rotating back up off your back heel. Pull your belly in and your back femur bone behind you. Use an exhale to bring your hands into your heart, shift your weight forward into your left foot, and step up for standing number 4. I just about lost it there. Maybe you too. Step out and come back if you need to. Sit into your work. Good. Inhale, stand tall. And an exhale to step this all down. Good. Let's find our way back toward the earth. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, slow dive, forward fold. Halfway up with an inhale. Take a simple fold. Bend knees a lot, plant hands, step all the way back to downward facing dog. Lift your hips high. And when your exhale comes, lower your knees to the earth. Bring your elbows and forearms down to support you. Tuck your toes and pull your thigh bones and belly up, chest forward, and then lower all the way to the earth. Hands frame your breastbone for a baby cobra this time. And then exhale, bow. Fold your forearms. Support your forehead as you come to lie down. It might even feel nice to kick your feet nice and wide and roll your hips side to side, finding a release of all of the muscles that hold your spine. Regulate the breath for 2 more. From here, you could choose to stay. It's already a perfect pose, or draw your feet back to a place they're no wider than the hips. Begin to bend a deep bend into your right knee, pointing your right toe toward the sky. For a lot of us, this already lights up a stretch into the front of the quadricep on the right side. So if you're there, that's good. You could choose to just stay. Or reach back with your right hand. See if you can catch a bind of your foot, your ankle, your pants with your right hand. And slowly hug your heel in toward your sit bone. A soft pressing of your pubic bone back toward the mat is going to deepen the stretch that we'll feel. Breathe here 2 more. When your exhale comes, let's release this and we'll change. So our forearm comes to drape across the front, creating a pillow for ourselves again. Bend through the left knee, pointing your left toe to the sky. If it's feeling available, reach back with your left hand to catch your foot, your ankle, or your pants. Hug your heel in towards you. And see if you can, ever so softly, apply the front of your pubic bone back down to the mat. This is really going to pick up what we feel in the stretch of the front of the leg. When your exhale comes, again, we're going to let this go. Bring both hands back to frame your breastbone. Let's come up through a really short tabletop pose. Open knees wide. Draw your bum back towards your heels, and for just a couple of breaths, child's pose. A very soft rounding of our back body, a full release of our head to the earth, maybe even a soft sway of forehead side to side to loosen off neck muscles. And then push through both your hands and slowly come up to sit. We'll kick our feet off to the side and scoot forward until we can find ourselves toward the front edge of the mat. I'd love you to start with both legs long and outstretched. We're going to keep the right leg completely long and outstretched and bend through the left knee so we can start to balance the blade of the left foot to the outside edge of the right leg. Now, depending on how this feels as we cross the leg and you start to maybe instantly feel this space of stretch to the outside edge of your left hip, you could stay. If it feels available, you're going to pull until you can align your left knee over your right knee. And depending on how this feels and how the intensity of it is working out, you can either pull your heel in towards your sit bone or you could play with directing your shin forward. They're going to create slightly different sensations depending on how it is that your body receives this. Options. You can keep this right leg long, or if it's available to you, you can bend through the right knee and try to find a balancing of both sides of your sit bones to the floor. I would really, really love you to keep both sides of your sit bones to the floor. If it feels like you're floating, you're only on the right sit bone, you could choose to take the fold of a blanket. I like to take the corner of a blanket and tuck it in under your seat so that the point of the corner of the blanket comes basically to where the point of your knees are, to the tip of your pelvis. And this might help you keep both sit bones down, just a couple of inches of play. If it's available, you're going to sit up to your tallest height and rest your shoulders all the way back and down. If you feel like you'd like to add on a little bit from the upper body, you're going to stretch your right arm to the sky, bend your elbow, and cradle the back of your head. You could choose to take your left hand and apply it to the top of your elbow so you're starting to slide your right fingertips down to the space between your shoulder blades. If you were in a body that you're interested, you could take this external rotation again, try to connect fingertips behind you like we did in our Warrior 2, and breathe. One more big breath. Go with an exhale, release your hands, give hands and shoulders a little wiggle. We're going to change to the second side, and normally what I would have you do is lean back, straighten your legs, and start the whole thing. But because this has been kind of a playful practice, at moments with muddled words of mine, I apologize. We're going to try something that my teacher once taught to me that she called the downtown James Brown. Maybe just watch it and see if you're interested in coming with me. What you would do is pitch forward and let your fingertips find the floor, lift up and unravel to the right, turning all the way over to the left until you can sit down in the exact same configuration, but this time with the left knee beneath. And for a lot of us, that doesn't work out, so what you'll want to do is straighten the left leg and realign. Bringing right knee to cross over left, finding a grounding of the right foot. Maybe or maybe not, then it's available to bend the left knee and ground both sides of your seat. It might be interesting to see that one side or the other requires that extra lift of a blanket, so feel free to play with these different variations. And since you're doing this at home, feel free to just pause this and check out how it is that your body might land in different opportunities and different shapes. Sit up tall. The idea is that your hips should be communicating with you in some way. And if you want, reach your left arm to the sky, bend your elbow, and cradle your head. If you want a little bit more leverage, bring your right hand to the top of your left elbow. See if you can slide your fingertips down between your shoulder blades. And then if you want to see if the bind is available, an external rotation of your right shoulder. Try to bring fingertips together behind you, or even grasp hands back behind your shoulders. Sit tall. And with an exhale, let's release our hands. And this time we'll just lean back and let both legs kick out long in front of us. Little waggle of the knees and the legs. I'd love you to reach back behind you if it feels appropriate. Pull the flesh of your seat away so you can really feel the grounding of your seat. With an inhale, we're going to lengthen through low back and pick up our chest forward. And with an exhale, you're going to take a really lazy fold, allowing your head to spill toward your legs. We're not going to be here for long, so I would really love you to just see if you can personify this idea of melting. Again, soften your hands and soften your jaw and soften your face and breathe deeply into the space of your low back. Good, my friends. Take one more like that. And with an inhale, begin to lift your gaze up. Fingertips drag towards you to sit tall. Step your hands back behind you in any way that feels the most comfortable for your wrists. Take a looping of your shoulders up, back, and down away from your ears so it pops and beams your chest open. Slowly lift your gaze to wherever it is that it feels comfortable in your neck and your back body, and clear one more big, loving, full breath. And look forward and begin to descend to the mat. Make sure you have lots of space for yourself, and we're going to roll all the way down onto our back body. As you get to your back body, begin to slowly hug your knees in toward your belly, and choose for yourself whether you want a moment to be absolutely still, hugging knees towards you, or if you prefer to have a little side-to-side sway. For a great many of us, we even like to stir circles around the base of our spine. You're welcome to that. Let both feet find the floor when you're ready. Spread your arms open wide in the shape of a capital T. And pushing through both your feet, let's move our hips ever so softly toward the right side of the mat so knees can fall together to the left. You might decide as you get here that knees need some love with something beneath or between them. You may decide when you get here that you're interested now in crossing a leg. See if you can set the pose in a way that it feels true to you, and then really drape your body to the earth for a few breaths of full releasing surrender. Fill up completely and let the breath go completely for 2 more. And when your inhale comes, knees come up through the center. Use your feet to help you rebalance your hips first, and then maybe move them softly and slightly to the right as both knees fall together. Both your hips to the left and both knees to the right. Do the second side. You might find again, this is the side that needs a prop, or this side needs a cross, or this side needs both. Notice how it is that your shoulders might fold in this moment. They might even need a repositioning. Your hands might need a reminder to let go, or your jaw. Let the belly really receive the fullness of your breath, and let every exhale surrender your body into the mat with a loving release. You've earned a little bit of rest now. One more big full body breath. And with an inhale, knees up through center, uncross anywhere along the path, rebalance your hips, and it might feel great to hug your knees in towards you one more time. You might be inclined to end a practice with something like a happy baby. You might like something like a reclined cobbler pose, soles of the feet together, knees wide, holding onto ankles or shins. You might have something else within your practice that you prefer, some version of a forward fold. The softness that comes from really releasing our body into the floor, or maybe something more energetic like an inversion of some kind. When you're ready, I would invite you to begin to splay open on the mat, releasing your arms and your legs. And you can certainly welcome yourself to a side-lying posture or a seated posture if it served you better. Take a round of 3 full body breaths, and maybe consider having your lips softly parted for the exhales, so that you can release body, and you can release mind, and you can release heart, and you can just give yourself a short moment to be held and be still, so that we can integrate any of the movement and the charged energy, so that we can release ourselves from the practice knowing that we have completely tuned back in. Be held by a simple moment to be. If you have more time to linger on the mat, please ignore these cues entirely. Just invite yourself to stay in this rested shape. For those of us that need to begin to release practice so that we can move back into practice off the mat, aka life, bend your elbows and bring your hands to rest on your body. You can either find your rib cage or bring one hand on your belly and one on your chest. And through personal experience, I would say that through the body, I can really begin to recognize all the other layers of myself. And so sometimes through the building of strength and length, through dedication and focus and perseverance is when I really have the ability to tune back in to some of the different layers of myself, the deeper layers of my heart and the far reaches of my mind that become clouded. Maybe that's true for you too. I hope your practice allows you to both tune in and tone up so that you can really let this practice serve you, both here on the mat and all the moments off of it too. The light that burns within me recognizes and deeply bows to that same light that burns within you and makes us the same. Namaste.